So Into the Wild Blue. This was about that. You know that I think it's an Air Force song. Off we go. Into the wild blue yonder, and it's and it's just always about exploration, right? About expanding who you are and what's possible for you. And I just love it. I was watching The Right Stuff on television. That's a 3-hour movie, and I didn't get bored at all. I love the whole thing because it's just about all of these people just exploring what is next, what's out there for us, what's out there for the world, what's calling. And there's always something calling. There's something calling us all the time to be more. And I know that I'm sure that some people are saying, well, why is she always telling us how to be better? What's wrong with where we are right now? Not a thing. Not a thing. There's nothing wrong with where you are right now. Where you are right now is beautiful. I'm just reminding us that there's always more whenever you're ready. And I remember when I was retiring, I was a peace officer in Los Angeles, and I was retired, and I got hurt on the job. And before they retire you medically, they have you see all these people, doctors, psychiatrists, whatever. And was talking, if any of you have ever spoken with a psychiatrist, a counselor, whatever it is, they're always, trying to find out what's going on inside you. And he's trying to get me to talk about my past. Who wants to talk about the past? And so I said, no, I don't want to do that. He says, well, why? What's wrong with talking about the past? And I said, I don't want to open that can of worms. And there's a can of worms. And I know where they are now. You open this up, I don't know what's going to come out or how to get them back in. He said, that's the whole point, isn't it? To let them out and not let them back in. Let them out. Let the worms go. And so this is part of what happens for us. We have a lot of worms. We really do. We don't always know. Is it me? Am I loud? Am I feeding back? I'm walking past something? Just back it up? All right. How you doing? I don't even know where I was with that. But anyway, it's just me. So,
can of worms.
Thank you. That's the whole idea, is that I call them a can of worms because I didn't have any other words for it. What we have are paradigms. We have paradigms, which is just rules and regulations and ways in which we believe that we don't even know we have. Because sometimes they came from our parents and they're just in there. Sometimes they just came from the society that we're in. I was raised around a whole military group of people. So I have this whole military background that I believe this is how you're supposed to live. I didn't even know, seriously, I know people look at me and go, that's not possible, but it is. I had no idea about race prejudice because in the military, there might have been, but I wasn't aware of it because what we talk about is rank. That was the only thing that made a difference, right, was rank. And it didn't make a difference, it was just who you saluted to or who you didn't, and that was it, right? Everything else was the same. So we're looking at paradigms because if we're not aware of what they are, we don't know how to grow. We don't know how to get past what it is and where we want to go. And so I want to share with you a couple of things that help us move forward. Whenever you're ready, there's no push. The push comes from you. And I opened up those can of worms because the pain of living like I was living was greater than changing that pain. And sometimes that's how we move. When the pain gets great. And so it's less to just go ahead and deal with it than to keep living with the pain. And we don't have to do that. We can actually just decide before the pain gets too great that we want to make some changes in our lives. We can do that at any time. And so I'm going to share a couple of stories. There's just a couple of things that we need to do, and I want you to know what those things are in order to move forward in our lives. Just a couple of things. So I'm going to share a couple of stories because they elucidate the point that I want to make. So I don't know how many of you have met my son. My son and my daughter are pretty much the same in terms of they're very gregarious people. They're wonderful, they're lovely, they laugh, they just have a really great time. And my son he's living in Colorado at the time, and he wanted to move up in his job. And so he was, going to interviews, and he just wanted to move up. He loves helping people. His whole job is about helping people. He's a manager, and he's always wanting to help people go to the next level in their lives, whatever they want to do. But he was not getting the job that he wanted. And so finally he just said, well, I'm just going to go ahead and make a lateral move just so I could be closer to home. So he made a lateral move because he was working like in Denver and he lived in Colorado Springs. So he made a lateral move so he could be in this other place. So he's there, and he's not loving it because it's the same job. He hasn't moved up. It's the same thing. He's not loving it. And this lady comes in, older lady. She comes in. She's a customer, and she needs some help. And so he's helping her, and she's getting whatever she needs to get done, her banking business. And so she walks out, and apparently she's incontinent. Yes. And whatever she had on wasn't containing what she had in her body. So as she was walking out, literally what was rolling down her pant leg and onto the floor was, poop. And so my son looked at that, knew he's going to have the one to clean it up. I'm going to ask somebody else to clean it up. He's looking at it and he's thinking, all right, so that pretty much describes my job. My job is poop. It's in here. And that was the pain that made him do the first thing that you must do in order to manifest the life you want. Make a decision for it. You have to make a decision for it. One of the things that we say a lot, not we and not just we people, is that, well, if God wants me to have it, gotta bring it. Well, that's diametrically opposed to the idea that we have free will. We have free will. So while God is available to help you, God's not going to just throw stuff at you. You have to be willing, and you have to say, this is what I want. This is what I want. You can't be saying, well, if it was for me, and if God wants me to have it. No. If you want it, then you make the declaration, and you decide for it. So that's number one. Decide. And that's what he did. He said, I got to get out of here. I'm going to do what it takes to get out of here. And so he went home, he talked with his wife, and he said, I got to get out of here. I want that job, I want to move up, and I want to do it now. And she said, okay, let's do that. Let's open the net, and let's not just look in Colorado. Let's look around the U.S. We can go anywhere we want to go, because he was focusing it just in Colorado. And the moment he made that decision, and he opened it up, a beautiful job opened up here in Dallas. And that's where he is right now. He's in Dallas. Not only does he have the job he wanted, he has a better job than he thought he was going to get, because he is now the head of I don't know, employees or whatever it is in 5 different states. Not just 5 different places, but 5 different states. He got a huge job, and the people who are above him are always trying to pull him higher. They're always saying, what's next for you? What do you want to do next? Make a decision. Let's work on what you're doing next. Okay? And it all started because he decided, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the next move. So that's what we have to know, okay? We can't, if you want something, God's just not going to just throw stuff at you unless you ask for it. And the moment you say, I'm ready and I want this, then the how. And that's one of the reasons why we don't. Another reason why we don't ask for something, because we don't know how. How is this going to work? I don't know how to do that. Well, that's dumb to say, because of course if you knew how to do it, you'd already be there. Right? That's just dumb. But that's what we say. I can't go there because I don't know how. Well, you're never going to go there because you don't know how, but Spirit does. So the moment you say, I want to do it, the Spirit said, I got you. I got you. And it shows up in ideas. He just popped an idea in my boy's head and said, he said, I want to get out of here. And Spirit said, talk to your wife, because she's a go-getter. Just talk to her and tell her what you want to do. And she immediately started thinking about all the things he needed to do, which he followed, and he did. And that's where it goes. So that's number one. First thing to do is to decide for something, whatever it is that you want. Make a decision. It doesn't matter if you do or you don't. This is about you. If you want to do something, decide for it, and then let Spirit drop the idea in your head of what is yours to do next. What is yours to do next? The next thing that happens is you make a decision for something, and then Spirit will drop it in your head, and you ask, this is the question you ask. A very, very question. What is one thing that I can do in service of my dream? One thing. make a decision, and then ask Spirit, what is one thing that I can do in service of my dream? Okay? And something will pop in your head. It'll pop in your head. The third thing, there's only 3 things, decide, then ask Spirit, what's the one thing I can do? And then what do you think the third thing is? Do it. Okay? Because if you're like me, so when you guys, so I have a friend that was saying, I don't hear from Spirit like you do. Like, I don't understand. How do you know? How do you know it's Spirit talking? Well, who else would it be? Number one. But okay. All right. But okay. So you want to know how to hear from Spirit? You want to know that it's got Spirit for sure? Then ask Spirit. Make me understand. Tell me the answer in a way that I can understand it's from you. That's all you got to do. Anything that you need or want, ask for that. So I asked Spirit, I said, make it clear that it is you and that this information is from you. Talk to me like I'm talking to somebody else, just like I'm just having a conversation. That's why you hear me talking to, like I'm talking to George. I actually call God George, and George and I have conversations. And I don't always like what Spirit's saying. What now? Okay, so I told you this one. I want to tell you again. So I was taking a cruise with my sister, and so I had to bring. Now it had a list. When you go, if you ever take a cruise, it tells you how to pack, what you can bring, what you can't bring, how to get on the ship, all the documentation that you need, blah 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 blah. It said you need 2 forms of ID, not 1. Not 3, 2. And it gave you a list of all the things you could take. And so it had this thing on there. It said something about your driver's license. If your driver's license was, and it had a name for it. And I thought, okay, yeah, my driver's license has that little star on there, so that must be what this is. So all I need to do is take my driver's license. Yeah. So I drove down, me and my whole family, from here to Galveston with my one little piece of ID, thinking I'm going to get on the boat. So I'm just in line, just fanning, just having a good old time. And so we get up there, and they go, okay, so where's your information? I said, oh, here you go. And they go, okay, where's the other one? What do you mean? You have to have 2. Uh-oh. I don't have it. And they go, well, do you have a copy of your birth certificate? No, but I have a copy of my passport. And they go, we can't take a copy of the passport because we have to scan it. We have to get those numbers off of it. You can't do that. Well, I don't know. Okay, well, can you just step out of line and just go to the office and see what they can do for you? I said, all right. And I just sent my sister and the rest of the family, you guys just go ahead and get on the boat, and I'll see what I can do. So I'm sitting there and wondering what I can do. And I said, the best thing is to get a copy of your birth certificate. Well, I don't have a copy of my birth certificate. And if I did have one, it'd be at home in my drawer 4 hours away. So I don't have that. So Spirit said, call your sister. Here's my response. For what? No, for what? I don't have it. How could she have it? And he said, do you want to go on this trip or not? And I said, yeah, I want to go. Well, then call your sister. Fine. So I called her, and I said, hey, Essie, this is my baby sister. I said, hey, baby, do you have a copy of my birth certificate? She goes, no, I don't have a copy of your birth certificate. I said, oh, okay, thank you. I hung up the phone to her. Oh, hello. She didn't have a copy of my birth certificate. I told you that. And he said, okay. 30 seconds later, not kidding, 30 seconds later, she called me back and she goes, you know what? I do have a copy of your birth certificate. Because my mother had been ill back in 2011, and we had to prove that we were her daughters because we were about to put her into a home. And we had to get our birth certificates. And my sister kept it. Whenever she gets any important information or documents from all of us, she keeps it. I had no idea. She had it in some little safe. So she called me, she goes, I do have it. It's in my safe. I'll just take a picture of it and send it right to you. And that's how I got on the boat. I already had plans. Well, I'll just come back home. Nobody knows I'm home. I'll just have a vacation at the house. Just crazy. But the point is, here's the thing. The thing that I just said. Make a decision for it. Spirit said, do you want to go or not? Yes, I do. I do want to go. All right. Then call your sister. Do what Spirit said. I'm arguing. Why? Hello, do you want to go or not? Call her. Stop arguing. So I called her. All right? And then That's it. So this is how it works. And that's just one of the many conversations that I'll have with Spirit. Once I decide, once you decide, it's on you. You can have whatever you want. But God isn't going to just start throwing stuff at you because it's free will. God can give you whatever you want. She's not going to try to say, well, do you want, maybe you want this, boom. Maybe you want that, boom. Maybe you want, no. No. That's not how it works. You just make a decision. This is what I want to do. Okay. An idea pops in your head. You have to listen to it because that's Spirit talking to you. And it may not pop in your head because that's how it does to me because I ask Spirit for that way of communicating with me. But maybe there's a feeling in your heart. Maybe you see something on a movie on TV. Maybe a commercial comes up. Spirit speaks to you however you have asked Spirit to speak to you and gives you a message. And then you just follow it. You listen, you follow it, and you do the thing that Spirit is asking you to do. Because why? Why would you do it? Because we're ever evolving. That's what we're here to do. Do you remember, I'm telling my age now, but back in I think it was the late 50s, early 60s, you remember television wasn't always on? Like it ended, you know what I mean? Like it turned off. And and at the end of it, there would be this poem. It was called High Flight. Do you remember that poem, High Flight? And he goes like, what? So he's shaking his head. And so the final line or stanza of that was, he's flying, and he said, I broke the surly bonds of this earth. And I had to look up surly, because I'm like, surly, doesn't that mean like you're like pissy or something? It's exactly what it means. But like, I guess the earth is like trying to hold you back. And so I broke the gravity. I broke the surly bonds of earth and reached out to touch the face of God. Remember that? That's what it tells us. That's what we get to do. You get to break these bonds that are holding you back. Your thoughts, your paradigms, an old way of thinking. Break those bonds. And you don't have to, it's not a hard job. You just have to you might not even be able to identify it. You can just say, Spirit, I want to move forward. I remember when I had said, everybody was teasing me about this raggedy car that I had. Had it for a long time. I loved the car, but it was well time to get past it and get another one, and I didn't know how it was going to happen. And so I said, okay, Spirit, I need another car. And Spirit popped in my head, and he goes, okay, well, let go of this one. What? And get around how? Hello? You say you want a new one? Well, let go of this one. That is about faith, right? That is about faith. Do the thing. Spirit told me what to do. You have to trust that the next step is going to be there. I couldn't see it, but do what Spirit's telling you. So if you make a decision and Spirit tells you what to do, you have to do that. Nothing else is going to happen until you do. And you may not understand it. Doesn't matter. Just do it. The next step will be revealed once you do the thing that's in front of you, that Spirit has asked you to do. Okay? So I would say the first thing that you want to do is make sure you have a clear communication with Spirit. Just know, and the only way to do that is just to ask for it. Just say, make it clear. I need you to speak to me in a way that I can understand. That is it. That's all you got to say. That's all you got to say. And just do that. That is how everything you want in this life will come to you, by making a decision for it. Make a decision for it. Listen to what Spirit has to say, and then do that. Do what Spirit has to tell you. And that's how we're going to break these bonds, these surly bonds that hold us back from evolving, from becoming who we are supposed to become. And I'll tell you, age has nothing to do with it. Do you understand that? No matter where you are, there's always more, because the universe is generous and abundant, and there's so much. There's so much. There's always something more. And that's one of the paradigms that we have. I'm too old. I'm too old. I don't know enough. How am I going to do that? Who's going to? All of these things, that's nonsense. That is a paradigm that you have for some reason. But you can just let go of that. You are not too old. If Spirit is on your side, then who can be against you? No one. They might think they are, but they have no power over you. Why? Because Spirit is source, substance, and supply. Everything you need, Spirit has available. So the only thing you got to do is decide for it. So just make a decision. Make a decision for what's next in your life. And let me just say this, that if you don't, it's okay. It's all right. I wasn't ready to open up those can of worms. I wasn't ready. When I became ready, then I opened them. And I let them loose. Whenever you're ready, I'm just letting you know that whenever you're ready, this is what's available for you. Anytime you want. Spirit's on your side. We all are on your side. That's why we come here together. That's why we come here. That's why we're a family. To share with each other how it works. How you, all of us, can have a great life now. Because that's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to do. Okay? So, I'm just saying, say yeah. Just say yes. And so it is. Yeah.